Hey guys, and welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at the Armytek Doberman Pro. This is my first Armytek flashlight, and I was quite curious to see what they're about. I've heard a lot of good things about them, and I've actually used this one for a few weeks now. So I think I'll be able to give you a good indication of what to expect if you're thinking of getting this flashlight. So make sure you watch on. And really the first thing I noticed when I took it out of the box was how light it was, and usually expect a light of this size to be a little bit heavier, considering it is on the larger end of tactical lights, but it's quite versatile. You can, I know some people kind of mount this light as well as carry it as a tactical flashlight, but because it has a slightly larger bezel, some of you may find it uncomfortable to pocket if you're wearing jeans, but luckily Armytek has included a nice holster as well. Quite a basic, quite a minimalistic looking holster, and functional. Overall, the light looks and feels premium in my hand, nicely balanced. And I love the anodization of this light. I don't think I have another light with a similar coating. I'll see if I can get it closer to the camera so you can see what I mean. It's completely matte black and very grippy. Normally with the smoother coatings, they're not too grippy, and manufacturers need to put some knurling on the thing, but really grippy, so much so that you don't even need knurling on it for a firm grip. Probably my favorite finish on all of my flashlight. Just looks so cool, and it reflects minimal light, so really gives it that tactical kind of look. It does pick up a bit of dust though, as you can see, just little bits of dust on here. I was trying to wipe it with my shirt before, and it picked up a little bit of the cotton. And needless to say, the machining on this light is absolutely perfect. No imperfections. You've got these anti-roll cutouts here on the head as well. Nicely done, quite elegant. I find that the switch on the back is also very quiet, so when you fully press it, normally, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just barely audible compared to my other tactical flashlights, which make a solid click. The button feels firm, but also with a little spring to it as you're activating the momentary mode. The switch also doubles as the magnetic charging terminal. So this is the charger that you get in the box. Very simple, lights up once you plug it in. And there's a few other accessories and things that you get as well. Get a nice little lanyard here. I don't really use lanyards, so I haven't taken this one out. A couple of spare O-rings. Obviously got the instruction manual and the, like I mentioned before, the holster. That's the box. This is the cell that comes with the flashlight, 18650 cell, 3500 milliamp hours. And I've tried a few other flat top cells in there, work completely fine. And that's a big win for Armytek, having that magnetic charging feature, but still being able to use a normal cell, non-proprietary cell. I use a separate charger to charge my batteries these days, so you've got that option if you want it. Taken the flashlight apart so we can see all the different components, and you can see here, especially for those of you who are mounting the flashlight, you can see that the back there's a nice beefy spring also on the head that's going to absorb impact. And one thing I found really cool as well is that you have double O-rings. Okay, so double O-rings on both sides of the battery tube, and that's really going to help with water resistance. You get this little tactical ring, rubberized tactical ring with the light as well. Nice little clip here on the side. It's not a deep carry clip, so the end of the switch is still going to stick out of your pocket, and that's for practicality as well, so you can grab that light very easily. But I know some people do prefer a deep carry clip. There's probably an option to use another clip and put it there instead of where the tactical ring is. but this is the one that's actually included with the light. Here's a closer up of that tactical ring, that rubberized tactical ring here on the back. And I'll say it's a very useful addition to the light, because when you're holding it, it sort of just wedges. I just sort of keep it between my index and middle finger, stops it from moving forward or back. Okay, so it's functional, works, quite comfortable, but I have seen some nicer machine ones out there. But it does do the job. This is the LED underneath the hood, and it's an unknown LED. I really can't figure out what it is. It's a quad die configuration, slight separation between each die. It's also de-domed, sits behind a smooth reflector and a white gasket. Looks like a 30-30 footprint emitter in there. The bezel has a nice crenulation, and I believe this is stainless steel. So I want to go through the UI in a bit more detail than I do with my other videos, because it is a little bit odd and unique at the same time. Initially, I couldn't decide whether I liked it or not, but certainly after using it for some time, I've realized that the unscrewable head essentially just functions as another mode switch. So instead of just having a physical switch on there that you're pressing to change modes, you access all the different modes by unscrewing the head and pressing the button in different combinations. So let me show you how that works. So there are two main types of operation that you can use. There's hunting mode and tactical. The main difference is that hunting allows you access to various additional sub-modes, including low, medium, high, and strobe, whilst tactical only allows you access to turbo/medium and also a bright and weak strobe. So in order to switch between hunting and tactical mode, you need to turn the light on first, and then you need to unscrew and screw the head in 10 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the light blinks one time. You might have seen that just there. So single blink indicates a successful switch. So currently the light is in tactical mode, okay, and the head is completely tightened. Now, if I click the button, press it halfway, or click it fully, I get turbo. So yeah, anything you do in this mode with the head tightened is going to be turbo. So while the light is in turbo, to change it to medium mode, you just unscrew and screw the head back in once, and there you go, you've got access to medium. From there, you can actually turn the light off, and it will lock in place to medium. Okay, no matter what you do, you can sort of play around with the different modes, hold down on a momentary, whatever, it won't change, but you activate it fully again, unscrew, screw back in, and then you've got turbo, and then it will just lock in that turbo. In order to access the different strobe modes, you firstly need to untighten the head, okay? Then when you hold that switch down at the back or completely press it, you're going to get strobe. So while the light is in strobe mode, you can basically screw the head back in, unscrew it, and you can access a lower strobe mode, so like a weaker strobe mode. So again, you have that light off and turn it back on again while the head is still untightened. It remembers that lower strobe mode. So it does pretty much the same thing as when the light is screwed in. So you've got two different modes that can be memorized in either strobe or the higher modes, the full constant on mode. Okay, so I've got it in hunting mode at the moment, and what you want to do in order to access the turbo mode is to tighten the head completely and turn that light on. Okay, again, momentary or full press will get you that access to turbo. Okay, and what you can do is in this turbo mode as well, you can unscrew the head slightly to access a lower mode. Okay, and access that medium mode basically, and that can be locked in as well, similar to the tactical mode before. Okay, fully screwed in, you access that turbo mode. And in order to access the low, medium, and high mode, what you have to do is unscrew the head first and click that button, or you can basically just half press to get those three settings, low, medium, and high. Low, medium, high. It's a little bit difficult to show on camera, but yeah, low, medium, high. Low, medium, high, and you can just lock that in. There is also an option to add in a strobe mode in here as well, but I don't think that's a good idea. I just found it to be kind of out of place when you have a strobe mode along with the other three modes. It's just a bit too much. So yeah, that's pretty much the UI, and overall quite a complicated UI for a tactical flashlight, that's for sure. It does take a while to learn, but it also gives you a lot of different options, and I like that you can kind of program in the tactical mode as well to have it on a higher or a lower mode. I think it is a bit odd that there are two different strobe modes on there, one high and low strobe mode. I think one is pretty much enough, but yeah, you can just leave it on the main strobe mode, which is what I do anyway. So the unscrewing and screwing of the head is a little bit fiddly, and I do wonder why not just use a second switch instead. I'm not overly worried about the wear on the threads as they're lubricated well, and you only need to screw and unscrew it in 1/8 to switch modes. Alright, so I ran a ceiling bounce test as well, and you can see here that the light lasts almost up to 2 minutes between 90 to 100% on turbo, starts ramping down just before the 2-minute mark. By 2 minutes, it is just below 40% of its output. Ran that test all the way past the 12-minute mark, around the 13.5-minute mark, where I then tried to activate turbo again. It goes up, spikes, and comes down pretty quickly, and you can see it actually drops to closer to maybe 30 to 35% after that point. So some good heat regulation in there, and especially with quite a powerful LED in there as well, you're going to want that light to step down so that it doesn't damage it. I like that the step down output was very consistent as well. So I also ran some tests on my Opal Lightmaster Pro, and the maximum throw I got on turbo was 329 meters, as you can see. Low mode 67 meters. Color rendering index was between 73 to 75, and the CCT ranged from 6,700 to 7,900 on turbo. So that was quite surprising. It's how cool it actually was on the turbo. The 7,900K doesn't bug me all that much, considering that I'm looking more for visibility, prioritizing visibility rather than color accuracy, but that's something you might want to keep in mind. So a few other considerations. I did notice that there is a slightly darker spot in the center of the beam. It's only noticeable closer up on a white wall. When using it outside, it's not noticeable at all. The rubber ring as well, like I mentioned, I think this could be machined better, or they could come up with something that looks a little bit more snazzy on there. I've just seen some better looking ones, but it's functional and it works, and that's the important thing. Doberman Pro does have a larger head, as you can see, and that could be tricky if you're wanting to pocket it in your jeans, but it does produce some decent throws, so there's always a trade-off between these kind of things. And I also wonder if I can swap in an SFT40 or Osram W2. This looks like a very decent size reflector in there to play around with. Finally, in terms of this unscrewing and screwing the head for mode switching, this has some pros and cons. Now, the cons obviously it takes a little bit longer, it's a little bit more fiddly and more complex to change the modes. But the pro about that is that you're not going to get any accidental activation, which might be very, very important for you if you're in a setting that you just want complete precision and complete control, knowing that whatever you do, the only thing that's going to activate that flashlight is a press on the tail switch. So that's something to keep in mind. Overall, I think Armytek have chosen to go a unique route with the Doberman Pro. I'm really impressed with its performance, construction, especially the anodization I was mentioning before, and the fact that it can employ magnetic charging with a non-proprietary cell. There's a lot of control over the UI as well, and especially with this rotating head design, there's no chance of you being able to accidentally activate the light from a side switch or anything like that. So if you're interested in this light, I will leave a link in the description to the Armytek website, and you can go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions, anything that you think I've missed out on, just comment below and I will answer. And finally, if you like this video, make sure you click the like button because it helps me to get this video out to more people. And if you want to see me make more reviews, make sure you subscribe.
Armytek Doberman Pro on the highest mode. Wow. This is pretty impressive. I think just due to the tint of the beam, it's just it's a really cool sort of white bluish tint. The visibility is amazing. You know, I was comparing it to some other flashlights with kind of a warmer tint, but this one really seems to bring out the details all the way at the back. No dust or anything in the air though. And you can see the spill it's not as wide as I think it would be. I thought it would be with a larger reflector like this. It's a very deep reflector though. But the hot spot in the center blends in so nicely with the flood. Up closer, trees to the left, with this grasslands. I like that the hot spot's pretty large as well. Some of the trees to the right. Can feel it getting a touch warm. And we can switch it over to the medium mode. Okay, it's medium. And so, I mean, it's okay. I'd say just for up to this area in the grass, I mean, I'd say that's pretty decent. You can see all the way up there. But for anything further, we're going to need to switch that over to that higher mode. There we are. It's a very nice beam. I like it. Armytek Doberman Pro. It's just pitch black out here.